Now, everyone is trying to make like it's my fault. Prosecutors, her parents, reporters, TV. They say I led Elise astray, that I took a sweet, innocent straight-as girl and dragged her down to my level. That I coerced her into skipping school, and staying out too late, and drinking dollar shots in dive bar. That I coerced her into skipping school, and staying out too late, and drinking dollar shots in dive bars until she screwed strange guys in the bathrooms of clubs that should never have let us in. That I made her this way. It sounds bad, I know, but the truth is, we made each other, like we learned about in science class. Symbiosis. I was the partner in crime she'd been waiting for, a hand to hold as she ran, laughing, away from the ivy-covered gates she'd been gazing over her entire life. And Elise. She was my catalyst. The glint in my eye, the giddy thrill in my stomach, the voice urging me to be louder, bolder, to blend into the background no more. We were both responsible for what we became, which I guess means we both have to share the blame. If Elise is the cause of everything that's happened to me, then I'm to blame for her fate too. It's both of our faults, equally. Except she's gone, and I'm all alone again. And so the blame, the great weight of it, the months of media speculation and fury and bitter, seething outrage, falls entirely on me. Some days, it's like I'm drowning in it, like I'll never see the surface again. She was always the one to pull me up, my hand to hold when it felt like I was going under. She saved me, and now she's gone. How am I supposed to get by on my own? The night. The first round of questioning is simple. When did you last see Elise? What were you doing that day? Did you see anyone suspicious near the house? They take us one by one into the interview room, while the rest of the group slouches, tired and weepy on yellow plastic chairs in the lobby of the police station as people mill about us in a state of barely disguised panic. We've called our parents, stuttered through the terrible news, and now there's nothing left to do but wait. Chelsea's eyes are red and tired. She sits, frozen, clutching Lamar's hand with both of hers, staring at the bloodstains on her jeans. Melanie huddles her small body into a ball, her arms hugging her knees, her voice raw from sobbing. I can hardly bear to look at them. Every part of my body feels wired with a terrible rush of shock and adrenaline, as if my atoms are about to break apart and spin out into the world. I leap up. Mel, you got any quarters? She blinks at me from behind straight black bangs. The machine, I need a soda. I nod to the vending machine. Melanie slowly rummages in her purse, like she's moving underwater, and passes me some change. I go try the machine in the corner by the reception desk. The precinct staff look as shocked as I feel. Over and over again we've been told this doesn't happen here. This is a safe island. Some robbery, a few drunken traffic violations, but murder? The first patrol to arrive at the house didn't know what the hell to do. One of them just stood there, staring blankly at the blood, while the other vomited in the hallway and stumbled back outside. It took another half hour for more police to arrive, and longer still for anyone to even approach the body. They trampled in and out of the room all night, and it was almost 5 in the morning before they finally bundled her up onto the stretcher and drove away. I've been feeding the money in over and over before I see that the prices are listed in euros, not dollars. It doesn't take American currency. I search my pockets, but there's nothing. After everything, it's the can of Coke that breaks me, out of reach behind the glass. I slam my hand against the machine and swear, loud in the silence of the room. Everyone looks over.
Sorry, I muttered, sliding back into my seat.
Tate is sitting on the floor in front of me, his legs outstretched. I put a hand on his head, twisting my fingers in his hair. He turns and gives me a faint ghost of a smile, but it's enough to calm me. It always is. He's been in there forever. Chelsea can't keep her eyes from the interview room door. It's Max's turn now, and Chelsea pulls her sweatshirt around her, looking anxious for her brother. Why are they keeping him so long? Silence. He was first to see the body, I offer. He saw the room before we all came in. The open balcony door. I still say we shouldn't be talking to them. Tate's foot twitches again. Not without a lawyer. He looks to Akshay. Didn't your dad say he was finding someone? Silence.
AK.
Chelsea nudges him gently. AK flinches. Your dad, the lawyer? AK shrugs. He has a distant look in his dark eyes, like he doesn't see any of us at all. Usually he's the one with a joke and a quip, but now he looks wrung out. Detached. We're minors, too, Tate adds. We shouldn't be alone in there. They need to find out what happened, I tell him gently. So they can find the guy who did this. What if he's still out there? Melanie turns to us, wide-eyed. What if he comes back to the house? There's a long pause. For the first time, I stop thinking about what has happened and look ahead, to what still may be to come. We'll go to a hotel, Lamar speaks up, his voice the only steady one. He takes Chelsea's hand, reassuring us. We'll stick together. But he could be after us. Melanie's voice cracks. We don't know why he came for her. It could be anything, it could be. Mel, I warn her. Calm down. How can you? The tears are coming now, fast down her cheeks. You saw what he did to her. She must have been so scared, and nobody was there, and... She collapses into hysterics, hiccuping for air. I can't, ... I can't, ... quote. Melanie. Chelsea tries to reach for her, but Mel ducks away. She's gasping, doubled over, hyperventilating. Mel. Get a paper bag. I leap up. That's what we're supposed to do, right? A paper bag? I get blank faces. AK is still spaced out, Tate looks lost, and Chelsea is helplessly searching through her purse for something. Guys. Melanie's face is red, she's wheezing desperately, her whole body shaking, so I cross the waiting area and slap her once across the face, hard. She stops, gaping at me. Her breathing goes back to normal. It's okay, I tell her quietly. But you need to calm down. There'll be time for that later. We have to stay strong. For Elise. Melanie nods wordlessly, but she scooches her knees up to her chest and hugs them again, turning her face away from me. I exhale. Sorry, I tell her quietly. She doesn't reply. The main precinct doors swing open, and another serious-looking man strides through. He was part of the crowd back at the house too, squat and bulky and balding on top. Although he's not in uniform, people quickly move out of his way as he steams across the floor toward us. Has something happened? I ask. Did you find something? He looks at us all for a moment without speaking, then turns and enters the interview room, the door slamming shut behind him. I swallow. Maybe you're right, I say softly to Tate. Maybe we should have a lawyer. When Max is done, the bald guy calls Tate back in for another hour. Chelsea and Mel try to get some sleep, stretched on the bank of chairs with sweatshirts draped over their faces to block out the strip lighting overhead. I can't even try. Every time I close my eyes, Elise is staring back at me, empty and lifeless, so I keep them open, playing Tetris and Super Mario on my phone until my whole world shrinks to the lines of tiny colored blocks and there's no room even to think. It's bliss. As long as I keep my mind filled with jumps and moves and left, right commands, I can pretend I'm anywhere, waiting for a ride or killing time in study hall. Anywhere but here, for any reason but this. Anna? I don't register the voice at first, I'm so focused on the tiny screen. Anna. Lamar's voice is sharper. Judge Decker needs to talk to you. I look up to find the bald guy waiting, his face blank. Tate emerges from the interview room behind him, looking drained, his tall frame slouching. I already went, I tell them. The Decker guy gestures for me. Just a few more questions. I don't want to go back in and talk them through it again, the phone, and the door, and the blood.
I'm tired, I say, a plaintive note creeping in my voice.
Can't we do this tomorrow? But he's unmoved. Miss Chevalier. I pull myself upright and stumble toward the room, catching AK's eye as I go. He looks so freaked, I lean in as I pass. It better not take long, I tell him, managing a weak smile. I'm so hungry, I could slaughter a goat. The trial. She said that? Decker pauses for effect, a note of horror in his voice. Slaughter? Quote. Yup. AK is sitting confidently on the witness chair like he's slouched on the front steps before class, watching cheerleading practice across the lawn. The dazed confusion and thousand-yard stare from that night are long since gone. This is the AK who has a weekly commentator spot on the Clara Rose Show, offering his valuable opinions on news, crime, and, of course, this case. Last week he closed his $1 million book deal. Today, he's wearing a designer shirt and a signature red pocket square in his blazer, all the better to pop for the cameras. He hasn't looked at me once during his testimony. And what was her mood like that night? Decker asks. My lawyer leaps up.
Objection.
Decker sends him a crocodile smile. Let me rephrase. How was the defendant acting? She must have been very emotional. After all, you'd been through such a terrible trauma. I can feel my lawyer tense beside me, like he wants to object again, but he doesn't. She was normal, AK told him. That was the weird thing. I mean, we were a wreck. Mel was crying, and Chelsea. Max could barely keep it together. But Anna was totally calm. Like nothing had happened. She didn't cry? Decker sounds shocked again, but after the theatrics he's put on this week, I'm not even surprised. The guy could step into a Broadway production anytime he liked. Never. AK shrugs. Not that I saw, anyway, and I was with her all that night. She didn't cry when we found the body, or when the police came. She didn't do anything, except... quote. Yes? She hit the vending machine, at the police station. She just exploded, swearing and everything. A violent outburst? Decker turns to the room, to drive his point home. It's packed with reporters, Elise's family, my former friends lined up to watch the show. I just have my dad with me now, and my lawyer here, trying the best he can. It was weird. It freaked us out. AK nods. It was just, like, this flash of rage. She looked possessed. And then she hit Melanie. Objection. Decker smirks. The defense counsel objects to the witness testimony? I wonder why. My lawyer glares. It's on the record, a slap, Miss Chan was hyperventilating. The judge nods impatiently. So noted, continue. Decker pauses a moment. No further questions. Judge Von Koppel makes a note, icy blonde and steely-eyed at her table. Any follow-up? I scribble a note to my lawyer. He glances over, then stands. Mr. Kundra, that slaughter line, it was a running joke in your group, wasn't it? AK coughs. Yeah. You would remark on your hunger by using bigger and bigger animals, he explains for the sake of the room. I'm so hungry, I could slaughter a pig, or a cow, or an elephant. Isn't that right? Yes, but... In fact, you said it yourself, on many occasions. He holds a piece of paper. March 18th, your status update. So hungry, could murder a fucking rhino. Yeah, but that's a joke. AK exclaims. Right. And that's what Miss Chevalier was doing, wasn't it? Joking? AK slumps, his self-righteousness gone. Mr. Kundra, answer the question. Yeah, she was joking. My lawyer turns, giving me a smile, but AK hasn't finished. But who does that? He asks, his voice loud in the silent courtroom. Elise was dead. Someone hacked her apart. We still had blood on us, and she's joking around? Who does that? No further questions, my lawyer says hurriedly, but it's too late. There are murmurs of agreement from the crowd as AK heads back to his seat. The damage is done. Now. Would it have made a difference if I had cried? I've had long enough to think about it, but even now, I can't know for sure. If I'd fallen apart, and wept, and screamed. If I'd curled up, shaking, into a ball in the corner of the police station and refused to speak. Would they have believed me then? Or would they have just found another way to spin it, that my grief was remorse, for the terrible thing I'd done? That my outbursts were too fevered, too public, too much for show. An act, to cover my tracks. The truth is, once Decker got it in his head that the break-in was staged and one of us killed her, there was nothing I could do. He was coming for me, and every little detail of my life was evidence, if you held it up to the light and looked at it just right. He was coming for me. First interrogation. Voice. This is Officer Carlson speaking, also present is Investigating Judge Decker.
Record of the first questioning of Anna Chevalier, 5:52 a.m.
Anna. Second. Carlson, what? Anna. It's the second time I've talked to you. You already interviewed me, before. Carlson. Yes, but this is on the record now. And Judge Decker has some questions too. Anna. A judge? But, this isn't court. Carlson. In Aruba, a judge leads the investigation.
Just think of him like another detective.
Anna. I'm tired. Can we do this tomorrow? I haven't slept. ... I haven't slept all night. Carlson. This won't take long. Now, when did you see Elise last? Anna. Should we have a lawyer? Carlson. Decker. You haven't been arrested. These are simple questions. Anna. But Tate said. Decker. Don't you want to help find the person who did this? We need you to talk to us if we're going to find them. Anna. I guess. Okay. Can I get something to drink? Water or something? Decker. Later. Anna. I'm tired, okay? I need something to drink.
Decker. When you've answered our questions.
Carlson. But sir, we shouldn't. Decker. Fine. Get her the water. Interview paused, 5:56 a.m. Pause. Decker. Interview resumed. So, when did you last see Miss Warren? Anna. Last night. Monday night, I mean. We all went out, to dinner, and the bars along the main strip. Decker. And then? Anna. Then we all came home and crashed. About 2 a.m., maybe. That was the last time I saw her. Decker. She wasn't there in the morning? Anna. No. Pause. I mean, we thought she was, but I didn't see her. I went to find her, but her door was locked. So we figured she was crashed out. Decker. What time was this? Anna. 9, maybe. We were all booked to go on a dive trip, so the others left around 10. We texted Elise, but she didn't reply, so we figured she was still asleep. Decker. Her door was locked. You didn't find that unusual? Anna: No. I mean, she liked her privacy, and she'd been with Nicholas the other night. Decker: Had she been drinking? Pause. Decker: Miss Chevalier? Anna: Yes. We all had. It's legal here. Decker: I'm aware. Pause. Decker: Why didn't you go on the dive trip with your friends? Anna: Me and Tate stayed back. We were tired. Hungover. We figured we'd just hang out on the beach. Decker: What time was that? Anna: I don't know. We left the house around 12:30, I think. We chilled on the beach most of the day. Decker: And you were together all the time? Anna: Yes. Decker: You didn't once part? To browse some shops, or use the bathroom? Anna: No. Decker: You didn't use the bathroom? Anna: No. I mean, yes. Decker: So you weren't together? Anna: For, like, 2 minutes. We were at the cafe, way down the beach. We used the bathroom there. We bought sodas. You can check. And Decker: Yes? Anna: Nothing. Pause. Decker: Do you keep a diary? Anna: What? Decker: A journal, some record of the day? Anna: No. No diary. Decker: Very well. What time did you return to the house? Anna: 6, maybe? We hung out for a while, showered, and went out to dinner. ... This pizza place, just down the street. The others had just gotten home from diving when we got back. That's when we started to worry and called the cops. Look, I've told you all of this already. Can I please just go? Decker: You were back at the house between 6 and 7. There was no sign of Elise then? Anna: No. Her door was still closed. Pause. Anna: I texted to see if she wanted to come eat, but there was no reply. We figured she'd gone out. Decker: And you didn't check her room? Anna: No. I mean, we were, busy. If she had been there, she would have come out and talked to us. I went and knocked on her door, but nothing. Decker: You didn't hear anything from her room? Anna: She was on the other side of the house from us. Me and Tate were by the main doors. And we were busy, so. Decker: Busy doing what? Anna: Just hanging out. Decker: Be specific. What exactly did you do, from the moment you returned home? Anna: We went to our room, and put some music on. Decker: The police responder first to the scene says there was blood in the hallway, you didn't see it? Anna: No, it wasn't there. Decker: What do you mean? Anna: When we came in, the blood wasn't there. It was there later. The blood must have been on our shoes or something, after we found her. Decker: What happened next, after you and Mr. Dempsey returned to your room? You turned on music and... Anna: I can't remember. Decker: Try. Did you make any calls? Watch TV, perhaps? Anna: I don't know. Dot dot. I took a shower, I remember that. Decker. Where was Mr. Dempsey while you showered? Anna. In the bedroom. Decker. But you were in the bathroom, you wouldn't have been able to see him. Anna. Well, no, but it was right off the bedroom. Dot dot. He was right there. Decker. Was the bathroom door open or closed while you were in the shower? Anna. Open, I think. Decker. You think, or you know? Anna. I don't know. Open. Yes. Open. He was right there, on his computer. Why are you asking all this? What does it have to do with anything? Decker. I'm just trying to get all the facts. You said music was on. Was it loud? Anna. Not really, no.
Decker. Were you and Mr. Dempsey making much noise?
Anna. I don't. Dot dot. I don't understand. Decker. You are a couple, no? You were alone in his room for almost an hour. Were you engaged in intercourse? Anna. Dot dot. You can't ask me that. Decker. I can ask anything I like. Answer the question, please. Carlson. Sir, I don't know. Decker. The question, Miss Chavalier. Pause. Anna. No. No, I'm not talking to you anymore. Decker. I'm just trying to ascertain the level of noise in the house, and... Anna. No. I won't say anything else without a lawyer. You can't talk to me like that. Pause. Pause. Carlson. Interview terminated, 6:20 a.m. The next day. It's morning by the time we check into one of the high-rise hotels along the beach. Tate's family chartered a jet for our parents, they'll be landing by noon, but for now, I can think of nothing but sleep. The adrenaline is gone from my system, I'm more tired than I've ever been in my life. Don't wake me until my dad's here, I tell the others, in the gray carpeted hallway. Even swiping my keycard takes almost more energy than I can bear. They must feel the same, because I get nothing but dull nods in reply before they stumble into their rooms. Inside, I take 5 steps and fall face first on the lurid aqua bedspread. I can't move. I can barely even breathe. There's a knock on my door. I groan. It taps again, urgently. Heaving myself up, I go to the door and pull it open. Tate pushes past me, inside. What did you tell them? He says anxiously. What did they ask? I close the door behind him. Quote. That guy, Decker, when he brought you back in? He asked what we did all day, what did you say? Nothing. I mean, just what happened. I stare at him, confused. He was there when I got out of questioning, right beside me in the cab ride to the hotel. He didn't ask me anything about my interview then, nobody did.
By then, we just wanted to be done with it.
Tate grips my arms. Tell me, what did you say to him? I shrug, trying to remember. You know, we went to the beach, we took a shower, went to dinner. Quote. Tate frowns. He didn't push you? Yes. I shudder at the memory. He kept asking what we were doing. But did you tell him? About me going back to the house? Tate's expression is panicked, and suddenly I realize why we weren't together all day. He went back to the house.
He was gone for a whole half hour.
No, I didn't say. Quote. I take 2 steps back. I forgot. I just said we went to the beach. I didn't remember you went back. Oh, thank God. The words run together in a rush. Tate sinks down so he's sitting on the edge of the bed. I was freaking out the whole time you were in there. I didn't know if you'd told them, if they'd catch me in the lie. Thank you. Thank you. He takes my hand, kissing it. It's a familiar gesture, something he must have done 100 times, but this time I want to pull away. He forgot his shades. I just set up camp on the sand, towel in the perfect tanning position, magazine out to browse. Go ahead, I told him. Bring me back a bag of chips. You went back to the house. I repeat it slowly. But, I don't understand. Why didn't you just tell them? Why did you lie? Tate blinks. Don't you get it? We're each other's alibis. Alibis? For what? I pause, looking down at him. Tate doesn't reply, just stares back at me with a nervous expression. You mean Elise? I exclaim, my voice rising. They think we killed her? Sheesh. Tate hushes me. I don't know what they think. He leaps up again, pacing to the door and back. But that guy, Decker, he wouldn't let up. Where were we? What did we do? How long were we at the house? He didn't ask me anything about Elise, or who else could have broken in. Me either, I say with a sudden chill. I meant to tell him about that guy, the one who hassled us at the market, remember? But he just kept asking about me, and you, and if we were apart at all. That's it, Tate says. We don't even know when she died. If one of us was alone, they could say we did it, that we killed her. But that's crazy. I reach for him, to try to calm him from this paranoia, but Tate shakes me off. Is it? He insists, think, Anna, we're stuck in some foreign country, and Elise is dead, and they're asking us about our sex lives instead of out there looking for the killer. The others were off on the dive trip, it's just you and me. I take a couple of breaths, trying to think through the haze of exhaustion. Was it true? Did Decker suspect us? Then we're fine, I tell him at last. We said we were together all day, and we'll stick to it. You didn't go back to the house, and we didn't leave each other's side, not for a minute. We'll be okay. Tate exhales a ragged breath. You'd do that for me? He pulls me into a hug. Always, I say, muffled by the soft cotton of his sweatshirt. I pull back a little, so I can see his face. You didn't see her though, did you? When you went back? Tate shakes his head. I promise. I just went in, picked up our stuff, and headed out again. But. I pause, you were gone for kind of a while. Like, 5 minutes. It was longer, I say. Remember? I was waiting for you, to put lotion on me, and I was already burning by the time you got back. Tate smiles, that's 'cause you burn in, like, 5 seconds flat. He tugs my hair, and bends his head to kiss me. I relax into his arms, savoring the feel of his lips on mine. After everything that's happened, this feels like the safest place in the world. We just have to stick together, Tate whispers, stroking my cheek. You and me, like always. Like always, I repeat. We sleep with our clothes on, curled around each other on top of the sheets. When I wake, it's all over the news: American teen murdered on spring break. Possible sexual attack. Police are pursuing all leads. They don't have our names yet, but I know it's only a matter of time. I click the TV off. Tate sleeps on. Junior year. I notice Tate for the first time that summer, a few months after I have my breakdown in the girls' bathroom and Elise walks away from her old clique for good. I'd seen him around in school before then. Even in a school filled with rich, ambitious, smart kids, Tate Dempsey as Hillcrest royalty, star of the lacrosse team, student government, an athlete's body, and golden good looks. We have a couple of classes together, but even with Elise in tow, especially with Elise, we live in different worlds. I would catch a glimpse of him in the hallways sometimes, heading to class with some new, adoring girl beside him, or hanging out on the front lawn after school tossing a football around with his buddies. I would think how he wasn't so much a real teenage guy as the billboard for one. You know, something from a J. Crew catalog, or the hot guy on a teen TV show who's really in his 20s, square-jawed, strong and sure among the crowds of boys still figuring out their gangly bodies and tufts of new facial hair. But as the year passes, I realize I was wrong. He isn't loud, or arrogant, like some of those popular guys, but almost quaintly polite, holding open doors if you're behind him in line, presenting his arguments in a low, confident voice in class. He doesn't ever interrupt, or pick on the nerdy kids, or swagger around like he owns the place. Instead, he has this air of mild embarrassment about him, as if he knows just how much wealth and privilege have been heaped upon his broad shoulders. Everyone else in school seems to take their status for granted, like they don't realize pure luck is the only reason they're not crammed in a public school across the city, taking the bus home, walking up 4 flights to a tiny apartment when they get done with their after-school job. Maybe it's because I wasn't born into this world that I see how random it all is, especially for us kids, who haven't built anything of our own yet, just taken what our parents can provide. My classmates act like they're entitled to their good fortune, but Tate is different, and I admire him for it. Don't tell me you've got a thing for Golden Boy, Elise says with a smirk one afternoon, when she catches me watching him from across the library. What? No. I quickly turn back. She's sitting cross-legged on the chair beside me, chewing red licorice and doodling in the margins of her world history homework. We have study hall last period on Tuesdays, but Elise is so restless, we barely ever make it through the hour. It's not like he even knows I exist. Which makes you lucky, Elise replies, arching an eyebrow. He's like a total man whore. He's already dated 4 different girls this year. Really? I can't help shooting another glance to where Tate is sitting at a table of the popular kids, his sweatshirt sleeves pushed up over tanned forearms, blonde hair falling in his eyes. I don't know, he seems nice. Trust me, he's just another asshole jock, but with better hair. Elise yawns, slamming her book shut. Speaking of assholes, I'm so done with Hitler. Stumptown? I suggest naming the coffeehouse that's become our regular. Or we could catch a movie. Pie. Elise's eyes brighten. I've been craving it all day. Dusty's has the best, and all the college boys are going to be out studying for finals, she adds mischievously. I laugh. You had me at pie. We grab our stuff and head for the exit, past Tate's table. He doesn't look up. As we near the doors, Lindsay and her group saunter in, armed with razor-blade smiles and perfectly glossy bangs. Ah, look, it's Hillcrest's new favorite dykes, Lindsay sneers as we pass. Elise doesn't say a word, doesn't even look around, just flips up her middle finger as we pass, linking her other arm through mine. As we push through the doors and outside, I glance over to check her expression, but there's not even a flicker there, just a determined smile. Peach or pecan? Elise asks as we head down the steps onto the front lawn. You even have to ask? You're right, she replies gravely. I should have known. Both. It's startling, how completely they cut her out of their clique, and how fast Elise sheds them, like some unwanted skin. She's grown up with them, after all, sleepovers and birthday parties and after-school hangouts going back years. But in a day, in an instant, she was done. I feel guilty at first, wondering if she regrets her choice, giving up so much and getting only me in return. I didn't yet know that Elise never looked back. Once she made a call, there was no other choice in her mind, she just kept moving forward, never regretting a thing. Screw 'em, she'd say whenever Lindsay would aim a new barb in her direction, her resentment for me nothing compared to the betrayal of a former friend. We don't need anyone but each other. And we don't, not those first few months. The world of girl friendship and intimacy that has always seemed so foreign to me suddenly opens up, just the way I'd glimpsed that very first afternoon. It may sound wrong, but I'm the happiest I've even been that summer, even with my mom's chemo treatments starting up again, and that sickly sweet medicated smell lingering over my parents' upstairs bedroom again. Because I have a place to escape now, a place of my own in the world, full stop. I'm not alone anymore. Elise and I fall into friendship like it's gravity. We eat lunch together in the shade of the far trees on the east lawn and toil over our homework at coffee shops downtown. We trade clothing and music, passing notebooks filled with lyrics and doodles in the back row of every class we share, and learn the exact texture of each other's bedroom floors from long nights sprawled on our stomachs, watching trashy reality TV. But soon we want more, and weekends become an adventure, fibbing to our parents about sleeping at the other's house, then sneaking out in our best tight denim and chunky boots. It almost doesn't matter where we go, as long as it's somewhere nobody knows us, where we can be anyone we want to be. Elise buys us fake IDs from some MIT student hacker, and although the door guys look twice, they always let us through. Rock shows, and dive bars, and the college haunts that line Boylston and Beacon, most of the time it isn't even about the alcohol, we just want to see the world waiting for us, after the battle of high school. One night we put on our best vintage dresses and red lipstick and take the elevator up to the lounge on the top of the Hub, a skyscraper high above the city. We sip cocktails from sugar-rimmed glasses and watch the lights over the river, fierce with the knowledge that this will all be ours one day, for real. The night I meet Tate is near the end of the semester, when summer vacation looms, full of promise and freedom. Elise and I luck into a college party invite from our favorite barista at Stumptown, off duty with his friends at the table next to ours. Elise shrugs, casual, and says we'll try to make it, but the minute the group leaves, we grip each other's hands, bright-eyed with delight. Tell your dad you're crashing at my house, Elise orders, and I call him to leave the message, knowing there will only be a hurried text in reply. Ever since I brought Elise home, and he made the connection between her father, Charles Warren, and the state senator of the same name, my father has let me go out with her anytime I want. So we do, getting ready in a flurry of discarded outfits and lip gloss, then sneaking down the back stairs while her parents are in the den, breathless in the backseat of a cab as we cross the Twilight City, heading for adventure. If anyone asks, we're freshmen at Berkeley, Elise orders me as we clamber out of the cab outside the scribbled address. It's a warm, muggy night and the street is busy with college crowds. Music is already spilling out of the upstairs windows of a narrow brownstone. I'm studying psychology, and you're a business major. Boring. I protest. I'll be a lit student. No, drama. Elise laughs. Sure, with your stage fright? They don't have to know, I say with a grin as we climb the front steps and push inside the narrow lobby area. As far as they're concerned, I could be a fabulous actress, auditioning for all kinds of Broadway shows. And Hollywood, Elise adds. You got offered a role in the new Chris Carmel movie, but you turned it down because you wanted to stay in school and perfect your craft. I'm very dedicated, I agree, laughing. I can feel a sparkle in my veins, some sense of possibility, and when we walk into the party upstairs, it all makes sense, because there he is. Tate. My eyes meet his right away across the crowded room, and I know it's the start of something. I can just feel it. Hello, Elise murmurs. Tate is with a guy from the lacrosse team, Lamar, but right away he heads over toward us. I guess you've been wishing on a star. Sheesh. I hiss to Elise. Please, don't say anything. But she just widens her eyes in innocence as Tate arrives, casual in a faded gray t-shirt and jeans. Hey. He looks at the two of us with a surprised expression, as if he can't quite place us. What are you guys doing here? Oh, we know a guy, Elise replies, her eyes already roving over the scene. It's hot and crammed with people, music so loud I can feel the bass, and everywhere, there's laughter and noisy chatter, full of the relief of finishing finals. Well, really, Anna knows him, she adds, her gaze sliding back to us with a meaningful smile. I swear, the poor guy follows her around like a puppy dog. She's not interested, but we figure, why waste a good party? Elise sends me a look that says, don't screw this up, then squeezes me in a sudden hug. I'm going to go look around. See you two later. She disappears into the crowd, leaving me by the side of the room with Tate. I stare awkwardly at the ground, not sure whether to thank or throttle her, but when I force myself to glance up, he's looking at me with something new in his expression, some kind of curiosity. You want a drink? He offers quickly. There's a bar back in the kitchen, they have all kinds. Sure, I agree, just as a new group of guys hurtles through the door. One of the frat guys knocks into me, and I stumble, but Tate takes my arm, steadying me. His hand is hot against my skin, and our eyes meet, just a flash, but I feel it all the way to my stomach. Come on, he says, smiling, and I follow him across the room. I would follow him anywhere. Before. Do you love me? You know I do. How much? Miles and miles. Deeper than the oceans? Yup. More than the wind. Higher than Everest? I don't know, that's pretty high. ... Ow. Laughter. Admit it. You love me more than anyone. Maybe. What about you? How much do you love me? Enough. Hey. You didn't ask. Enough for what? Quote. Fine, then. Enough for what? For anything. That's better. You think we'll ever wind up like our parents? God, I hope not. Just kill me if I do. No, I mean, alone like they are. ... My mom shows me her old yearbooks, and there are tons of people in there she doesn't talk to anymore. Old boyfriends, best friends. ... What do you think happened to them? Maybe they drifted apart. That's stupid. You don't drift, not if someone matters to you. So maybe they didn't matter, not really. Anna? Yeah? I'd never do that. Leave you. I know. Me either. The party. Tate leads me to the crowded kitchen, every surface covered with bottles and abandoned red plastic cups. He finds us 2 unopened beers, and cracks the tops off against the edge of the table. This okay? He asks, passing me one. Because I can find some soda. No, I answer quickly. This is great. There's another pause as we both take a sip of our drinks, but I don't feel nervous or awkward. Instead, I'm unnervingly calm. I've never been one to get all romantic about fate and destiny, but there's something so neat about this, I don't have a chance to panic. After all these weeks stealing glances in the hallway, I suddenly have him to myself. Cool party, huh? Tate offers. Who do you know here? I ask, and Tate leans in to hear me. All around us, there's music, and packed bodies, dancing and chatting, voices raised to be heard. Some of the guys from last year's team, Tate replies, his breath warm against my cheek. And Lamar, well, you heard about him and Kayla? I nod. They were dating pretty tight all year, inseparable even, until some big blow-up over spring break. He's been kind of low, so I figured a party would be good. Looks like it's working. I nod through to the living room, where Lamar is talking to a couple of college girls in short cut-off skirts and plunging sparkly tops. Tate follows my gaze and breaks into a grin. Good for him. ... Quote. The end of his sentence is cut off as the music goes up another level, some dirty club hip-hop track. What? I yell. Tate looks around, then gestures away in the other direction of the living room, toward the back of the apartment. One of the hallway windows is wide open, leading out onto the flat gravel roof where I can see some people are already hanging out, thin wisps of cigarette smoke drifting up into the night, and the low, sweet scent of something more. Tate bends over to climb through, then holds out his hand to help me after him. Outside, it's warm, and although the sky is now dark, it's surprisingly bright, the night cut through with the glow from the apartments, and traffic on the streets below. We wander closer to the edge of the roof, and find a place to sit, perching on the edge of a brick-built air vent. It's weird we haven't really talked before. Tate glances over at me. I keep seeing you around in school. Not so weird. I take a sip of beer. We don't really run in the same circles. Tate gives a low laugh. Yeah, you and Elise pretty much keep to yourselves. I turn. That's the way you see it? Tate looks puzzled. What do you mean? I shake my head, amused. Nothing. All this time, I figured everyone knew I was the outcast, that Elise and I were outsiders because we got blacklisted. But Tate figured we keep to ourselves out of choice, and I guess by now we do. What about you? I ask. Is it true you're going to be president someday? Tate shrugs and looks bashful, and that's when I know that it's for real. He doesn't try and make a joke of it, or deflect the comment away, like people do when they're embarrassed. He wants it. Sorry, I add quickly. I didn't mean it like that. I think it's great. That you want something so big. I can't even see what I'll be doing a year from now.
Tate checks as if to see if I'm still teasing, then relaxes.
Maybe. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it, always having to plan ahead. What do you mean, school and college and stuff? Everything, Tate replies, and there's a twist in his voice. I want to go into politics someday for sure, but my parents keep reminding me that I have to be careful, and think how something will look 20 years from here. You mean, like, partying underage at a college bash? Exactly. Tate gives me a rueful smile. And they're right, too. But now I have this voice in my head, warning me about everything. To do things right, all the time. He falls silent, looking out at the city. His blue eyes are cloudy in the shadows, blonde hair shaded to a dark gold. I can feel the heat of him beside me, just inches between us, and I feel a rush of simple gladness, that I get to see this part of him. The real part. So how about you don't, I suggest. Just for tonight. He looks at me, a smile playing on the edge of his lips. Do the right thing? Why not? I match his smile, playful. Who's going to know? If it had been a Hillcrest party, it never would have happened. He would be the boy who ruled the scene, and I would be the girl on the outside of everything. But here, away from it all, we're just ourselves. Back inside, we do lime jello shots together, quivering and half solid in tiny paper cups. The music plays on, loud, and soon we're dancing, lost in the sea of bodies, hot and sweating. He's solid against me, his eyes bright, and then Elise is nearby with some college guy, and Lamar too, wrapped around a pretty co-ed. We drink and dance until our feet hurt and our throats scratch dry, until it's 3 a.m. and the cops come and shut the party down, and we flee, laughing, down the stairs and out into the empty streets. We wind up in a red vinyl booth at some 24-hour diner down the street, sharing cheese-covered fries and thick, icy shakes, Elise and I squeezed in the middle of the group like it belongs to us. Nothing happens with Tate that night, but looking across the crowded diner booth, I see the spark of something in his blue eyes, and I know it's the start. The last few weeks before summer, he stays friendly in school, chatting in the hallways sometimes, or discussing an assignment after class. Elise keeps dragging me out to party and meet guys, worried I'm pining away over him, but I'm not. I've got a certainty about it, like we're fact, even if it hasn't happened yet. Even if I want to pine, Elise doesn't give me the time. Our summer is a whirl of beach days and road trips, driving through the western Massachusetts country out to explore quaint college towns and hidden-away bookstores and cafes. It's not always just the two of us. Elise's parents insist on introducing her to the kids of an old college friend of theirs, just moved to town from California. Max and his twin sister, Chelsea, turn out to be our age, set to attend Hillcrest in the fall. Max is equal parts surfer and comic book nerd, Chelsea a laid-back artist type with a baggie of weed hidden under her paintbrushes. We run into Lamar at a couple more college parties, and soon he and Chelsea are inseparable. Elise's old friend, Melanie, starts hopefully showing up at the coffee shop, regretting her decision to take Lindsay's side now that the queen bitch is off in Europe for the summer, and just like that, Elise and I have our own group, to hang out together in that back booth at the diner after a late night, to drive upstate to her vacation home in New Hampshire, or to just sprawl in one of our big, empty houses, sneaking liquor and smoking weed and watching school loom closer like a jail sentence at the end of summer. And then Tate is there at a party one night, and just as simple, he's mine, slipping into the place I had waiting for him. Elise on one side, Tate on the other, my hand linked through hers, his arms slung over my shoulder. After so many years drifting, not connected to anything, I'm finally tethered. Safe and loved, in the middle. We start senior year like kings, like nothing can ever tear us apart. We're wrong. After. Our parents arrive on the island by lunchtime the next day, and with them comes every American news team and TV crew within a 1,000-mile radius. They lay siege on the street outside, lining up news vans and portable satellites, snaking electrical wires across the parking lot. The hotel posts security on every entrance, and sets us up in a suite on the 4th floor with full-length windows overlooking the sparkling sands and perversely blue waters of the beach below. I begin to understand the shock of the staff in the police station last night, their dazed tears and murmured apologies. Ugly things shouldn't happen in a place this beautiful. Anna. I turn. Our parents are being shown in by the hotel manager. Elise's mother crosses the room straight to me, her arms outstretched. Anna, sweetheart. Her face is pale and bleak, and I register somehow that this is the first time I've ever seen her without makeup. Judy. My voice breaks, and she collapses against me, sobbing. I hold her tight, feeling the anguished cries rack through her slim body. How could this? Her words hiccup against my shoulder. I don't understand. I know.
I hang on, arms wrapped around her.
I know. Of all the parents, I like Elise's mom the best. She and Elise were always locked in constant battle, but right from the start of us hanging out, Judy welcomed me into their lives. She works long hours as a cardiac surgeon at Mass General, and Mr. Warren is always out too, off at political functions and fundraisers, planning his next move, to mayor, or congressman, even, but whenever she is around, Judy is always sure to ask me about school and college plans. Not in that fake, polite way, like Tate's parents, who always speak to me with a faint icy edge, as if they're just waiting for him to get me out of his system and move on. No, Elise's mom cares, sitting up with us sometimes to watch TV, or eating a late-night snack in the kitchen with us when we get home from parties and she's back from a shift at work. Elise always recoiled from her affection, accusing her of being overbearing and smothering, but Elise doesn't realize how lucky she is to have a mother who even notices. Had. I hold Mrs. Warren until I feel another hand on my shoulder, and raise my head. My father is standing anxiously beside me. Are you okay? He asks, moving his hand up to stroke my hair, the way he always did when I was a kid. I slowly shake my head, waiting until Judy's weeping subsides, and she finally steps away. Here. My father offers her his handkerchief. She dabs her face, red-eyed and puffy. We should never have let you go. I said it wasn't safe, all of you off on your own. Mrs. Warren's voice breaks again. It's not your fault, I tell her. You couldn't have known. None of us could.
She nods, wordless, and then drifts across the room to embrace the rest of the group. I move to follow her, but my father pulls me back.
Let me look at you. He takes my face in both hands, and then hugs me hard against him. When they called, all I could think was, what if it had been you? It's okay, Dad.
I'm crushed against his chest, but he doesn't let go.
I feel a sob well up, imagining him back in that house in Boston, all alone. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. He lets me go, taking a step back to recover. Of course, he says quickly, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. You're safe, that's what matters. Slowly, the rest of our families assemble. Tate's parents, immaculate as ever. Chelsea and Max's dad, with their new stepmom perching awkwardly in the corner. Lamar's mom, short and fierce and not letting go of him, even for a second, and Melanie's dad, scowling at all of us as if we're the ones to blame. We hover on plush sofas and end chairs, as if we don't know what comes next. Then a voice cuts through the low chatter, loud.
The important thing is that we get on the same page.
No one says anything without a lawyer. We all look over. It's a strange man in a gray suit, setting up a laptop in the next room. He's in his 40s, maybe, with a BlackBerry in one hand, gesturing to a younger man with more computer equipment.
Sorry, this is Mr. Ellingham, head of our legal team, Tate's father supplies.
Not one word, Ellingham repeats, moving into the main room. He looks around, pointing at us in turn. Not to the police, not to reporters. Not until we get this straightened out. It's too late for that, Tate says quietly. They questioned us all night. You're minors, his father corrects him. They can't use any of it. I don't understand, Mr. Warren speaks up. He has an arm around Judy, and looks at us in confusion. Why aren't the police here right now? Why aren't the kids talking to them? If they can help with the investigation, if they can help find who did this. Not without a lawyer, Ellingham cuts him off. Mr. Dempsey softens. Look, Brad, I know this is tough. I can't begin to imagine what you and Judy are going through right now. But we have to stick together. Police in a place like this, they'll want to point fingers at the outsiders. He's right. Tate speaks up again. Tell them, Anna. About that Decker guy. All eyes turn to me. I hug my arms around myself, but Tate nods again, encouraging, so I talk. He was asking me all kinds of things, I say softly, about our partying, and Elise, and what she was doing. It wasn't anything bad, I add quickly, my eyes going to Judy. Just regular fun stuff. But he wouldn't listen when she tried to tell him about this guy hanging around the house. Tate finishes for me. or ask about suspects or anything. He's really weird. You see? Tate's father turns back to Mr. Warren. We've got to protect the kids. I've got a public relations team flying in. AK's father speaks up, formal in a three-piece suit. They'll take care of the press. I've already reached out to a couple of local investigators. Ellingham adds. Guys who know the island, the people here. We'll find who did this, don't worry.
The adults move into the new conference room to talk about the legal side, about questioning protocols and information appeals, leaving the rest of us to sit, dazed.
My dad pulls out his cell and dials. Casey? I need you to push my meetings for tomorrow and Wednesday, and see if you can switch your Corp to a remote conference. He's checking his schedule, flipping through the old-fashioned black leather daybook, and it hits me for the first time that life hasn't stopped. Everything out there is still moving on, like normal. People waking up, and going to meetings, and watching TV, living their lives like a hole hasn't just been punched through the fabric of the world. They don't know Elise is dead, and even if they do, it's no more than a headline on a website, a pretty photo in the top corner of the news report. They don't care that she's gone. I feel a wave of dizziness wash over me. I tug my father's arm. I need some air, I whisper. He nods, not lowering the phone. No, stick a pin in everything non-urgent. I'll be here several days at least. ... Quote. I drift away from the group and slip out onto the balcony, breathing in the warm sea breeze. Down on the beach, brightly colored umbrellas and squares of towels line the shore, people playing in the water. Just another day of their vacation. Hey. Tate steps out on the balcony behind me, pulling the door shut behind him. He slides an arm around my waist, giving me a rueful smile. Who'd have guessed, my parents can stand to be in the same room together after all. I don't smile. We have to tell them. What? Tate's body tenses against mine, but I can't drop it, not now. You know what? I force myself to look up at him. About you going back to the house. Anna. Tate glances back inside, but nobody is paying attention to us out here. I told you, we can't. But what if it's important? I argue. You could have seen something. I didn't, I told you. I was there, like, 5 minutes. Maybe you didn't even realize it, I insist. But if you tell the police, maybe it fits with something else, something someone else reported. You could be a witness without even knowing. Stop. Tate hisses. He grabs me by my arms, his grip digging into my skin. If we tell them, they'll know we lied. What do you think will happen then? I don't know. I swallow, unnerved by his expression. But isn't it worth it, if it helps?
If it gives them some kind of lead.
It won't do anything except make us look guilty. Tate's voice is low and fierce. Is that what you want? I'm doing this to protect you, too. I stop. What do you mean? I wasn't the only one off on my own, remember? I took a nap, and when I woke up, you were gone. But
I was down by the water, I protest.
I was right there.
So,
Tate finally releases his grip on me. Don't you see? Once they know we lied once, they won't believe anything else we say. And meanwhile, the guy who really did this gets away with it. I exhale slowly. He's right, if Decker knows we lied on this one thing, he won't trust anything. Reluctantly, I nod. That's my girl. He kisses my forehead and hugs me to him. I just... quote. My voice cracks. I can't stop picturing her. The way she was just lying there. Quote. Don't think about it, Tate tells me.
He shifts so he's leaning back against the balcony railing, his hands on my waist.
Think about that time we took my dad's boat out and sailed up to Marblehead. Tried to sail. I take another breath and feel my panic subside. Just his hands on me are enough to anchor me back to earth again, something solid and real. He's all I have left now. Hey, I got us as far as the sound.
You guys were the ones who wanted to turn right back around, Tate protests, smiling.
She got so sick. I can't help but grin at the memory. Elise, bundled up in a bright orange life vest, clutching the yacht rail with one hand, using the other to flip us off. I've never seen so much vomit. Yeah, thanks for that. Tate laughs. I had to pay the deckhand triple to wash it all out. I pause, feeling sadness swell through me, bittersweet. That was a good day. He nods. The best. I take his face in both hands and kiss him slowly, trying to pretend we're back there, out on the ocean. Pretend we'll spend the afternoon laughing with Elise in the sun before heading back home together, happy and safe. Pretend, just for a moment, that nothing has changed.